Welcome everybody to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchdrunkCritics.com, and on this special, I guess it's special episode, we're talking about a Marvel movie that came out this year because there weren't that many of them, honestly, that have come out in 2020, 2024. Unfortunately, it's a Sony Marvel movie, and those are not always
Not
good.
known for their quality.
No, and this one is Madam Web. You've probably been hearing a lot about Madam Web already. Yeah, and that voice you just heard is my buddy Chris Bumbray at Jillbo.com. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Travis, how are you?
Good, good, good. So yeah, we're talking Madam Web, but yeah, people have probably already heard a lot about this movie. Dakota Johnson's already become a meme.
It does not seem like she's really enjoying promoting it.
No, it feels like an obligation. And honestly, watching her in this movie, she did not seem very interested. She's
No, not
actually
at all.
noticeably bad in this. I'm not gonna go too deep into the details of this movie. She's playing the character Cassandra Webb, who in the comics is Madam Web. She's much older in the comics, and she's like a seer. She can see to the future. She's kind of a character who ties together all the various spider heroes. Um, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I know. And in this movie, she's kind of looking over these three girls played by Sydney Sweeney, Celeste O'Connor, and Isabella Merced, who are destined to, I guess, kill a villain, Ezekiel, played by Tahar Rahim, the normally great Tahar
oh,
Rahim.
he is I
Uh,
don't know what,
uh,
like, that is such a weird
uh,
AI enhanced performance. Like,
it's
oh,
so weird, so weird.
yeah.
But Tahar Rahim's character, Ezekiel, killed Cassie's mom decades earlier, stole a rare spider with healing abilities to gain all these superpowers, and now that he's got these visions of being killed by these three women, these three girls, he sets out to kill them first. But Cassie is there to protect them. I found this movie highly annoying. And look, I went into it wanting to like it. There's not a single person in this cast that I don't like. Like I like all of them, including Dakota Johnson. She's a personal favorite. Actually, Tahar Rahim, I love for A Prophet and loads of other things. But man, this movie looks crap. The story's crap. And I found it really annoying the way it kept teasing a much better film.
Oh yeah, well, and that's what the trailers made it look like, like that was the thing. Like the trailers made it seem like it's kind of that was the movie it was going to be. I apologize to your viewers too, by the way. I usually don't look like this or have this much of a hard time talking. I've got some kind of allergic reaction. Half of my face is blown up. So if I
Nobody
look like
would have
I had a
noticed it if
stroke,
you hadn't said anything. You should have just said, I apologize for that.
Travis is just
I
forcing me
apologize for this beard that I have that you've never
Travis
seen.
is forcing me to be on the show despite my terrible state. You know, it's at the risk of our
In
friendship.
Canada, I've got control over him. Go ahead.
But no, it's bad. I mean, it's bad, and I'm shocked that some critics gave it a pass. The people that went to the junket, I guess, must have been a nice one.
Must have been. I've seen a lot.
um,
I've seen some people trying to give it some credit too, and I'm like,
yeah, and it's like, God,
what?
it's bad. I mean, it's
What?
it's worse than Morbius. It really
It
is.
is worse than Morbius. We had this conversation after the movie. It's like, which one is worse, this or Morbius? And I was
This
like,
is a lot
this
worse.
is worse. This is much worse.
Morbius at least is a movie, and it kind of flows from one scene to another. I mean, the thing about this one, I feel like it was rewritten after they already shot it,
There's
and
four writers on it, and I feel
oh,
like
I know.
I did feel like they didn't communicate with one another at all, like
Well,
ever.
I think it was rewritten after it was done and that they couldn't get anybody to actually come back and do any reshoots. So they did like AI to like, because you could see like, especially Tahar Rahim, the way that some of his dialogue is said without any like very strange nuance and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, and you don't see his lips or anything. Like, I feel
yeah,
like it was done with a machine that was
to-
imitating his voice.
totally. I
And
totally
and
agree.
it makes it look like he's a terrible actor. Like it makes him, so it's embarrassing for him.
Looks bad. He sounds like he's talking to a fan. It just the whole thing just doesn't look right. I
Oh,
was
and then you
I
got
was
Sydney Sweeney pretending she's like 15 under like these thick
it was
sweat.
so awkward. It was so awkward.
My
It's like, dude,
God.
come on, man.
All
But
those girls are too old for their roles, but her especially. Like, come on.
Merced and O'Connor can pass. I mean, but
Kinda. I don't know. I mean, like
Merced
O'Connor's
Merced definitely
25.
can. I think she's actually still a teen, isn't she? But
She's 22.
is she 22? Okay,
In
well.
Hollywood years, that's fine for teens, I guess. But O'Connor, I find, is starting to look older too. Like, well, she just looks like a woman. basically. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, that's the thing. But
yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, I mean, come on. She's
I
already played
was
like adult roles. Why is she playing a teen?
I was joking with somebody about like some of the earliest interactions between Dakota Johnson and Adam Scott, which were some of the most unnatural interactions between people I had ever heard. And I was
Oh,
like,
hello, Ben
who?
Parker. This is my partner, Ben Parker. Hi, Ben
Right.
Parker. Ben Parker, you're crazy. Ben Parker,
Yeah.
Ben
And
Parker.
they're
Like, we
doing,
get
and
it.
it's
Okay, he's
because
Spider-Man's uncle. Uncle Ben. We get it.
right, exactly. And I was like, and the interactions felt so. I was like, like AI wrote it, trained by another AI, and
Yeah.
it's like it didn't make any sense. And I was like, they're trying so hard to tease this stuff, like we're a bunch of idiots, like banging us
And then
over
like,
the head.
well,
And
well, we can get the Uncle Ben movie. Like anybody wants that,
well,
like
I keep thinking we're gonna get the Richard Parker and Mary Parker because they were like spies, right? Like his parents were like spies. Peter Parker's parents were like spies.
I
Because
kept waiting for what's her for May to show up at the end, and I thought it was going to be a de-aged Marissa Tomei,
right.
who
Oh,
looks the same as she did in 2003, so they wouldn't have to do much.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a proposal like somewhere in Sony like where they tried to get that to happen or like some footage maybe where they actually did shoot it and and somebody
I
was
wouldn't
like
be surprised. I feel like they like it's interesting. She gave an interview the other day, SJ Clarkson, where she basically threw cold water on the fact that people were saying that it seemed like it was originally set in the 90s, that they changed it to 2003. I think it probably was set in the 90s though, because there's just an awkward, they put in Toxic, but like that could have been a reshoot. And then there's an awkward scene where she goes, I just want to get home and watch Idol. And it's like, oh my God.
yeah.
Because there's nothing post 9/11 in a New York movie set in 2003, post Patriot Act. And it's so easy for her to leave and go to Peru when she's wanted by the cops. Like it just doesn't make any
That
full
whole Peru side trip was like damn she just ended up in Peru and then just kind of
popped over to Peru. Yeah, no
I know
problem.
I was gonna go
Wearing the same clothes, like leather jacket, and it's like
right
fucking
it's like I'm just gonna go over here it's fine don't worry about it it's like what
it's
it
it's
just
bad. And that was Mike Epps as her boss.
why bring him in the movie he was there
Yeah.
for a minute
I brought him in. I was like, all right, we're gonna get some jokes now. And then it was
I,
like he's
Yeah,
played a
yeah.
completely
Well,
serious
the
role.
joke was on him
Yeah.
because he was the only person that she didn't really want to use her powers on. Like I joked that she saved a bunch of people by accident with her powers, but like the one person she could save for real, like she just didn't do it. Is my guess.
Like,
It's like I'm sorry if I'm spoiling that for people, but
nice enough guy, but he fucked up
you're
the
going.
whole movie.
I'm in a way. I'm warning you because if you're going in there to see Mike Epps, then you're
Well, it's
wasting
the same
your
people that
time.
went to see Tyrese for Morbius. Like, I mean, you're not gonna,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. He's like 10th build in the movie, folks. So I mean, don't worry about it. But it's
But
like
the cinema score is really bad for this. It's C plus, right? So I mean,
that's bad.
it's gonna do even worse than I think people are expecting it.
It's at like 15% on Rotten Tomatoes right now amongst
Yeah,
critics.
I think it's gonna be a massive,
It's gonna get
massive
worse.
flop.
It's gonna get worse. But it's like it looks bad. Like especially the visual effects don't look great. I don't know what it is about these Sony movies that they can't get the visual effects right. Like
They're cheap. That's the thing. They
they
put
all
this
look the
so little
same.
money into them.
They all look like they're made by the same person. It's kind of like how DC's movies, like during the Snyder era, they
Yeah, they all
all
look the
kind of look the
same.
same. And it's like, don't y'all have different people? Like, what is happening here? Like,
I
I
mean,
don't.
Sony likes to do these really cheap superhero movies, and it's worked for them for Venom because Tom Hardy's such a big star, and he chews the
Venom's
scene.
and Venom's an A-list Marvel character, so
Yeah,
it's just different.
yeah, like Madam Web, who gives a fuck? Like, I mean, I'm
Right.
curious to see how Kraven does. Unless, I mean, I'm thinking maybe JC Chandor will do something good with it, but I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. It's not necessarily his wheelhouse either.
I feel like
Uh,
there's going to be so much like ill will towards that movie though after this. Like everybody's just going to be
yeah.
rooting for it to fail in some way.
Sony's at what point, if you're Sony, like any of these companies that's launch these franchises and they start off terrible and they just kind of keep building it's like an avalanche, and you just kind of keep building and building with like bad movies. And they,
Nobody thought this would be good though. That's the thing. Like even when it was announced, people were like, "Really? Like is that what we're where we're at now?" Oh my
right.
God.
I don't understand why you make a movie with this particular character. Of all the Spider characters that you've got, I mean, you could, Jesus Christ, there's so many good Spider-Man characters. In fact, any of the three girls, their characters could have made good solo movies. Any of those characters, Spider-Woman, Aranya, any of them, they could have made a good spider movie with any of those individual characters, rather than trying to do this thing with Madam Web into a Madam Web movie and have them be, just like cogs in it. And it's just like, it's just a really bad. I don't get it. Why
Yeah,
can't
it's
they follow this into the Spider-Verse model? I'm not saying they got to use Miles Morales, but tell a really expansive, intelligent story with a single character and build from there. I
I
don't
mean,
get
they
it.
tried to jam pack as many as they could. I mean, just Madame Web's not an interesting character. And Dakota Johnson, I mean, she phones it in because she obviously doesn't want to be there. She fired her agents apparently after her management after the trailer for this came out and seems very disinterested in promoting it. And I think she knows it's going to be an embarrassment for her. It really is. Like it's gonna fuck up her career. It's not going to help. It's gonna be the same thing as what happened with Jared Leto. They do these movies to get these franchises so that they can get their more personal projects made. But when they backfire, they really, really backfire. And I think it's going to be a huge embarrassment for her.
Yeah, I agree. This is just going to be a real black mark on her.
Yeah.
Otherwise, pretty good track record of making
Oh, totally.
good
Totally. I
movies.
mean, yeah. I mean, I think, Kristen Stewart has been smart in staying away from stuff like this. Like, I feel like she did do Charlie's
Chevy
Angels.
Charles Angels, which she regrets now, by the way.
I know, and she's every interview she said what a mistake it was to make that
Yeah,
movie, and it was, and it's the one black mark on her. Otherwise, really, it's like it's one of those things that when you do the big franchise and you make money, I think you just have to stick with the stuff that you're passionate about afterwards, unless you get something that you can really sink your teeth into.
yeah, I completely agree. I feel bad for look. All these people are going to come out okay in the long
A
run.
Sydney Sweeney, I don't think it's going to make even the slightest difference. In fact, I still think they might make a Spider-Woman movie with her just because her stardom has kind of taken off. But it would have to be with completely different people, like a really, and you need a good director. Like this S.J. Clarkson, I have nothing against her, but she's like a TV director, like a person that you hire for like I kind of get like they're trying to like check boxes and stuff like that. Like, oh, this needs a female director. But you're telling me there's not like a female director out there that's passionate about that kind of
I
stuff? Like,
mean,
for sure there is.
we already know that they are out there. Like
Of course there are.
we already know that.
And it hurts them when you hire these people that aren't necessarily like interested in making a superhero movie. Like, the one I feel bad for, and she made a much better movie than this one, is Nia DaCosta, because she gets thrown under the bus by Marvel, where it's like it actually hurt her to make a movie like that because her career was doing better beforehand, like,
Yep.
and she got totally thrown under the bus, and she still made a better movie than they made with
It's a
this one.
shame because I think the Marvels is really good, and but it
I
didn't.
think people just didn't necessarily want to see that movie, and it's not that it's a bad movie. I think the appetite just wasn't there.
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean, they should have read the tea leaves. If Captain Marvel makes $1 billion, maybe it's not a good idea to go and change the next movie to the Marvels and do something a little bit different.
Well, and years later too. I mean, there's such a thing as really
Yeah,
waiting too long to make a sequel, and I think that that's what they did with that, and they made the same mistake with Aquaman. They waited 4 or 5 years, and it's too long.
yeah, I agree. Anyway, this movie's an utter disaster. God, I felt bad for everybody in this. I even felt bad for Zelsia Mamet. I mean, she never got out of her chair in the movie. Like, I mean, it's like, what was she doing?
And the girl from the NSA that the guy seduces, you know who that was Jill Hennessy.
Was that Jill Hennessy?
Yeah, she looks good, man. Still looks really good.
Oh,
She's
Jill
like in her late
Hennessy's
50s. She looks
bomb. Is she
terrific.
is she still married to Jason Sehorn?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I was like,
I
yeah, is that Jill Hennessy? And I was like, oh yeah, it's Jill Hennessy. Yeah.
used to love Jill Hennessy,
She
man.
looks she looks great. She
Well,
looks
she
still
still looks
terrific.
great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jill Hennessy's fine as hell. All those ex Law and Order chicks are still fine. They're
Carrie
always
Lowell.
fine. Like
Carrie Lowell.
Stephanie March, all those folks, man. Law and Order, hey, they know how to pick them on Law and Order, man. They
Looking
don't.
good in the suits, the smart suits.
I saw Mariska Hargitay in person once at an airport when I was going to Hawaii. She had her
She's
whole
beautiful.
whole family with her, and I was like, "It's Mariska Hargitay." It's like 3 in the morning. Oh man, Madam Web. Anyway, so this is gonna go down as probably one of the worst movies of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Although I did just see one that I really hated too, but not nearly as bad as this. So
What was so somebody else told me that there was something they were screening that was really bad. Yeah, I forget what it was.
I don't know.
Like a major movie or
Oh yeah, oh yeah, with a trio of ladies at the top of the bill. Uh, not is not funny at all. Involves a car.
oh yeah. Well, it was yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not as yeah, people were expecting it to be great, but it's not. Yeah,
I
I
was
know.
expecting to grad, I just expecting it to be funny.
Yeah, it
That's
was not.
all I go into these things
I know what you
expecting
mean.
now.
Yeah.
And I'm
We're
starting
talking
to
about a
get
movie we're not allowed to talk about yet, but I saw it as well. Yeah, I know it just
yeah.
kind of falls flat.
Yeah, I'm starting to get more. I'm starting to scrutinize my fellow critics a little bit more when it comes to this stuff. Uh, I went to see Lisa Frankenstein, last week with the other critics, and there was one behind me, and I didn't talk to him immediately after the movie, but I saw him at the screening yesterday for this other movie, and I was like, "What'd you think of Lisa Frankenstein?" He's like, "Oh, I liked it." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, I sat directly in front of you. I didn't hear you laugh the entire movie. Like, I know you didn't laugh. So what'd you like? It's a comedy.
Catherine Newton.
Yeah, I know. It's like just say that then if that's the case. Like, I mean, but don't feed me this line of crap that you like the movie that I know you didn't laugh at.
I think people
And
are
nobody in that theater laughed.
I
Like,
think
it was,
people are nervous about giving really bad reviews these days, though, because you get called out for it a lot more than you used to. And then people are like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
you don't like it because it's all female driven or something like that. Or you don't like it because the people that behind it aren't white men. Like that really is a thing that gets
oh
thrown at
yeah.
critics these days. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
fuck
And
off.
it's a lot
I
harder
know what it's about.
nowadays. It's a lot harder nowadays too, because if you're on X or something, then people call you out directly. And
Yeah, I was
sometimes
nervous.
I've been called out by the filmmakers themselves.
I
Like
was
that's happened
nervous
too.
about I saw the TV Glow review from Sundance because
Yeah.
I thought people would call me out about it. And it's just because you're the one dissenting view because everybody decides, oh, this movie is brilliant. And it's like, I'm not saying that, everybody else is wrong. It just, from my opinion, it just didn't work for me. But then they're like, oh, of course, well, it didn't work for anyway, whatever. I'm getting carried away. But it's just that is what happens though sometimes these days. Like, and it's I kind of hate to go down that road, but Drive-Away Dolls. I mean, I don't know if anybody's gonna like Drive-Away Dolls though. I feel like even the potential audience that could like it isn't actually gonna like it.
All right, well, we're veering off away from Man and Web and talking about other movies that haven't been great lately. So, let's wrap it up here. Madam Web is a disaster. It'll be, but the thing is though, it might still do okay because I know a lot of people want to see it just for curiosity's sake. So we'll see. And plus, it's been such a dry couple of months of movies
Ugh.
that I
You
think
didn't love Argyle?
it. Huh?
You didn't love Argyle?
I thought Argyle was terrible.
I was fine with it. I mean, I get it though. I get why people didn't like it.
Yeah, it's not been a good. It's not been a
There's not
good
gonna be anything great coming out
until Dune. Until Dune.
Is there anything else even coming out after that, like in the short future? I mean, I haven't seen Bob Marley yet, though. I've heard
I
this
like that. I like Bob Marley, but
audiences love it. It got
it's
an A
getting
cinema score, which means it's going to make
yeah,
a lot
but
of money.
critics aren't liking it though. Critics are killing it.
Oh, who cares?
But yeah, no, who cares about critics? Screw them.
No, in the end
I
of the
enjoy
day,
it.
though, it really is the audience that decides. I mean, if the audience likes it, the audience likes it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Bob Marley movie, and I hope it does well. I think people who don't go in there with like an encyclopedic knowledge of Bob Marley will probably like it more.
Yeah.
Because it's all the people I know who dislike it are people who are like know everything about Bob Marley, you right? And like they will nitpick everything. But
Well,
me,
they focus on that one
yeah,
concert, though, right?
it's just 2 years, and yeah, like between these two concerts that he's trying to pull off.
Mhm.
So it's just 2 years. But for me, as a casual Bob Marley, you know, person, like my dad was the Bob Marley guy in our family, not me. I liked it. So, you know, talked to Ronaldo Marcus Green yesterday. Or
Oh, did you really?
yeah, good guy.
We did the junket for that as well.
Yeah,
Kingsley Benadier.
yeah, good guy. Good guy.
I
Well,
didn't I didn't interview him, but Jimmy had a great time doing it.
yeah, so I hope people go see that.
They are though. They are. It's already making a lot of money.
Yeah, it's
Although it
perfect.
could be one of those things like Color Purple, where like I thought it was going to be a
Starts
blockbuster
off great.
first day. Yeah,
Starts off great, and then yeah,
I
could be
still like
great.
that
And
movie.
I imagine people who get high a lot would go see it like 5 times.
Well, I got to go see it then. Get my face fixed. I'll try, and I can be seen in public. I'll try and get it done.
All right, my friend. That is Chris Bumbray of JoeBlow.com. I swear that's him. It looks like it to me, it looks like him. He doesn't think so. To me, it looks like him. And then you just finished talking about Madam Web. You can find me every day at punchdrunkchris.com. You can find Chris at JoeBlow.com. And yeah, that's it. We will see you again next time. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.